Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Which Country Has the Best Schools? In this episode, we're diving into a hot topic. Which country has the best schools? With so many different education systems around the world, it's not an easy question to answer. But we'll break it down, looking at top-performing countries and the factors that make their school systems stand out. So let's get into it. First, let's acknowledge that when we talk about best schools, we need to define what we mean by best. Are we talking about academic performance? Are we focusing on how well students are prepared for life after school? Or is it about the overall well-being of students? There are many ways to measure success in education, but one of the most commonly used methods is international assessments, like the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, which tests 15-year-olds in reading, math, and science. When we look at PISA rankings, countries like Finland, Singapore, South Korea, and Canada often come out on top. But there's more to their success than just test scores. Let's take a closer look. First up, Finland. Finland consistently ranks high in global education rankings, and for good reason. The Finnish education system is often praised for its focus on equality and accessibility. Teachers in Finland are highly respected and undergo rigorous training. In fact, becoming a teacher in Finland is incredibly competitive. Only the best and brightest make the cut. There's also a strong emphasis on play-based learning in early childhood education, which many believe helps foster creativity and social skills. Finland also limits standardized testing. Students take very few exams, which reduces stress and lets them focus more on learning for the sake of learning. But it's not just about less testing. Finnish schools also promote collaboration over competition. Students spend less time in the classroom compared to other countries, but they still perform incredibly well academically. The system is designed to allow students to explore their interests and passions while ensuring they get a solid foundation in key subjects. And hey, who doesn't like the idea of a system that encourages balance? Next up, Singapore. Singapore is often at the top of the PISA rankings, especially when it comes to math and science. The country has an incredibly rigorous curriculum, which includes a heavy emphasis on memorization and practice. But what sets Singapore apart is how they manage to make that rigorous system work for all students. The government invests heavily in teacher training, and there's a real focus on continually improving teaching methods. In fact, teachers in Singapore are often considered master teachers and are expected to contribute to shaping education policy and pedagogy. But it's not all about hard work and test scores. Singapore also has a comprehensive support system for students. Schools offer a variety of extracurricular activities, and there's a strong focus on developing well-rounded students. The government also provides robust support for students who may be struggling, helping them get back on track. South Korea is another country with an education system that often draws attention. South Korea's school system is known for its intense focus on academic excellence. Students are expected to study long hours, both during the school day and after school, in private tutoring sessions. South Korea has some of the highest performing students in the world, but this success comes at a price. The pressure to succeed is immense, and students can face high levels of stress and burnout. But despite the pressure, many still see South Korea's emphasis on discipline, high expectations, and rigorous testing as key factors behind its educational success. That said, there is an ongoing conversation in South Korea about the need for a more balanced approach. In recent years, there's been a push to lessen the focus on rote memorization and to bring in more creative and critical thinking into the curriculum. The goal is to ensure that while students are excelling academically, they're also well prepared for life beyond the classroom. Then there's Canada, which has one of the most diverse education systems in the world. Canada consistently ranks high in terms of student performance, especially in reading. But what really sets Canada apart is its inclusivity. With a population that's ethnically and culturally diverse, Canada's schools prioritize creating a welcoming environment for students from all backgrounds. In fact, Canada's approach to education is often described as being more student-centered, with a focus on meeting the needs of individual students. The Canadian system also emphasizes the importance of critical thinking, problem-solving, and creativity. While academic performance is important, there's also a strong emphasis on developing students' social and emotional skills. Plus, Canadian students generally report feeling happier and less stressed compared to students in other high-performing countries. That balance of strong academics with a focus on well-being is a major reason Canada's education system stands out. So which country truly has the best schools? Well, it depends on how you define best. If we're talking about academic performance and rankings, countries like Singapore, Finland, and South Korea often come out on top. But the best system is one that balances academic success with a focus on student well-being. In this case, Canada and Finland stand out for offering well-rounded education experiences that consider not just how students perform, but how they feel. And perhaps the key takeaway is this: there's no one-size-fits-all answer. What works in one country may not work in another due to cultural, social, and economic factors. But by learning from the strengths of different systems, we can all work toward creating a world where students thrive, both inside and outside the classroom. That's all for today's episode of The Global Classroom. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. We'll be back soon with more deep dives into education around the world. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.